So I think one great thing about having locals is that you can get a local opinion about what it is like to go through the entire process rather than hearing it from somebody from abroad. So in that spirit, I've asked two of our startups out of the three that we've invested in. We have Giuliano and Sebastiano, who are going to both share their experiences with their respective startups. Let's just take a seat. So maybe what we can do, if you don't mind, we'll do the elevator pitch, which I know I'm putting you on the spot since I didn't tell you I was going to ask you to do that, but I love having startups pitch. So maybe, Giuliano, you can just jump in quickly and tell what Stamplay is about, and then...
All right. Yeah, Stamplay is a platform that let web developers rapidly deploying fully featured web application with a visual interface and providing in a second all the backend, the infrastructure, and so they just need to care about the UX and UI. This let them save up to 90% of costs and times of software development.
Thank you.
Okay. Tanaza is a company that fixes the problem that all of you guys have right now. You have Wi-Fi here? Okay.
No, it's broken.
It's broken or something, actually. Or, you know, every time you go to a hotel and Wi-Fi sucks, like for me yesterday evening, for example, we actually make a good and proper working Wi-Fi available at the fraction of the cost. So we make the enterprise-grade Wi-Fi, but available for every kind of company, making it affordable through a cloud platform.
Cool, thanks. So one thing that you might notice is that they're both ideas that no matter whether they're Italian or Croatian or Slovenian, they're all big ideas. We have on the one side a company that's trying to change the way that infrastructure is deployed worldwide, and on the other end, how brands, agencies, web developers build applications on the internet worldwide. So that's the kind of companies that we deal with and that we like to invest in. But still, in spite of the fact that we like to do global things, there's local challenges. So in that spirit, maybe, Giuliano, you can talk about what it's like to have been coming from, obviously, Italy and pitching, going through a rejection, and then what that process was like going to Berlin and the whole process of being effectively an Italian company in Seedcamp.
Well, it's been kind of a great journey for us because definitely, and he's talking about, of course, it's my humble opinion as a guy coming from Italy, going and pitching to Seedcamp on an international level where the bar of all the startups pitching, the presentation, the ideas, and the execution is that high, really take you out of your comfort zone. You think that you can basically explain what you're doing, that you have an already good idea of how you're going to execute your product. And when the first time we met Carlos in a Seedcamp week in Berlin, we went to our first selection, and we basically didn't make it. We get in touch with Carlos that made a very strong assessment on how we were seeing the market, how we thought to build the product. And it was some kind of enlightening. The network and the people that Seedcamp bring to you, asking uncomfortable questions and really trying to help you figuring out how you can build a mega global company helps you a lot in understanding where you're wrong or what you should refocus on. So we work it on during the summer. We get back applying for Seedcamp week in September. And we finally made it to get into the program. And again, it's kind of hard. First of all, you have to explain something that is already different to say to other people in your language, and you need to pitch it in what is not your native language, because I'm not, a fluent English speaker at all. And this is already a barrier that you need to get rid of. If you want to start a mega global company, you need to talk with international investors. If you want to talk to them, you need to be able to clearly communicate what you're going to do, why they should put the money on you, and really take you out of your comfort zone. Carlos has been slapping us. Maybe I missed the times that Carlos said where you should recommunicate this, or you need to see again your pitch, maybe you're wrong here, here and that. Every time we thought that it was kind of good, they just pointed at us where we were wrong. And the incredible access to all the mentorship and people and mentoring that Seedcamp provides for it has been really, really amazing to help you speed up. Because when you need to start a company in the digital world, you need to go fucking fast, man. You need to go fast. 1 year is a geological era over the digital stuff. So you go fast or you're gonna be dead in 6 months.
So talking about going fast, one of the challenges, obviously, especially when you're a very small company, or if you're a company of one person, is how do you go fast, talk to investors, and what does that feel like in Italy versus the UK? Maybe, Sebastiano, you can tell us how your experience has been, because you've had a long journey, you've had a couple of pivots, and you're exploring that.
Absolutely. So first of all, I want to say I totally agree with you. So the feeling I had when I joined Seedcamp the first time, I felt like there were a lot of great companies there, and I was not absolutely one of the best ones there. While if you stay in the country here, it's very easy to feel that you are cool. The thing is, you don't know what it's needed to get funded. So the international exposure is absolutely fantastic for that. Comparing the Italian environment with the UK one, well, I would say it's a totally complete difference, I would say. Especially what I could see like in 1 week through Seedcamp. So I haven't had an experience like that here in Italy. So I don't even know if there is anything like that. But I could meet like hundreds of investors in a few days. Obviously, I didn't talk to all of them. But in a few meetings, I could actually understand what is required. So assessing what is needed to seriously go there and, not looking like a scappato di casa, but looking like someone that knows where you are, where you want to go, and what it takes to get there, asking for reasonable money. That kind of awareness is what I actually could assess and get there through this kind of exposure. So this was fantastic to me.
Okay. So I'm going to ask a controversial question. If money were no object, Italy or London?
You go first.
All right. You say
and why? And why?
If
money were no object, if you had all the money that you needed to scale, London or Italy? And
basically, for my type of business, for our type of business, because definitely London, but just because things move faster than here. You get more connection opportunities with more people that comes from that industry that are more hunger to make money, man. It's all about, even if money is not the object, building a successful company basically involves that. And in London, everything is about business. So things move fast. This doesn't mean that it can be done from here, because things in the last years really, really grow in such an amazing way. But again, basically right now, it's not to give you, I don't want to give you a polite answer, but things that happen in Italy, and even having Seedcamp here, show that things are moving. But anyway, London, for what I see, is still the place to be for me.
So, Sebastiano, can you add to that with the following question? Because I've got Roberto back there making all sorts of hand signals.
I was watching.
So let's iterate that question slightly, which is, if you are a local from Italy, and assuming that what Giuliano said is something that every company has as a radar, and London is step 2, maybe step 3 is Silicon Valley, what is the right time to leave Italy? And when you're here, how long should you be, and in what context?
I think this is the perfect question, actually. So, like for a company like their company or our company, the exit is in Silicon Valley. It's not even in the United States. It's in Silicon Valley. So if you want to have the exit, you have to be there. So that's for sure. So the question is about timing. So the first thing is when to move there. And the second question is, do we need to go through London to do this? The point is, if you go very early, that's a fantastic thing to do. This is what I personally think. If you can move to London, usually the answer and the idea about this is it's very expensive, so maybe I'll go there, next year or things like this. The thing is, if you move right when you start, that makes things very easier, I would say. If you wait a little bit and you start structuring a team in Italy, then you have some sort of switching costs, so it's more difficult to get all the advantages that you can have in London or in UK, let's say, or let's say in the best place you can be if you want to get funded with European money. So my recommendation would be, if you want to go global and you can move, that would be a good thing to do right as you start. Otherwise, you have these switching costs. And it's actually the situation of our company. So we're growing. I think if we were in UK, we would have had a larger round, just because there are more investors and different type of investors. So this would be my this would be my recommendation.
Okay.
Maybe not everybody agrees with this, but
okay,
it's my experience.
No, thank you for that. Mr. Mattina, do we have enough time to maybe let the founders in the audience ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, sure.
Do any of the founders that are here have any questions for what it's like to be a startup that is going through that process? Maybe that has been in a program. Yes.
Hi, I'm Luigi, co-founder of VMSme. I would ask you, what has been the most difficult phase for your startup, the most critical phase when you were building the product, and where you were not so sure that would have been such a successful startup? Thank you.
In my case, I think it was and I think there is an interesting session later, finding the product market fit, actually. Because that's when one day you are super excited and you think that everything will work properly, and then you can imagine your customers buying your fantastic product. The day after, you discover that you made a mistake and an assumption was wrong, and so you kind of don't know where to go. So it's like iteration, iteration, iteration. Until you exit this tunnel, the emotions are like, one day super happy and the other day you're destroyed. So I think passing that part is the most difficult part, especially trying to get money and to get funding when you just have an idea with zero validation. And when I say validation, I mean an actual sales process that you can actually repeat, so not just a couple of lucky sales. So that's the most difficult part.
No, if I have to give complete his answer, I totally agree with him. One thing that's really, Carlos is going to have the lesson later, is about, and really stress on, is you should focus on your minimal viable segment. It's like focusing on the really tiniest segment of customers that you should address and start with them. Because when you're starting a startup, a company, you think that your product would fit a lot of different personas' need. And this is the most wrong things that you can do when you start, because you're not able to collect enough data that statistically lets you understand where you can be more effective with your solution, where you can deliver more value. And so we're finding people willing to pay for that. And so you have no way, you just need to cut off type of customers that maybe you have relation with, or that you can address. Because you need to focus just on one to really validate what you're doing. And think maybe about the next one if your first minimum viable segment of customers fails. And this is really the hardest part. So I totally agree with Sebastian on this.
Great. I think we're good. Okay, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.